We live in an attention economy. And attention equals power.
If I may ask one other question. Pardon me, ma'am.
We have the liberal destroy Trump. Mainstream media is now in a free fall.
What we have just heard from the president, if we were to air just the truthful parts, we probably could only air a sentence.
And we still, as a country, have not fully been able to reckon with what that means.
George Orwell said it best. To see what is in front of your nose demands a constant struggle.
What's journalism all about? It's not just sticking a camera and saying, oh my God, everybody's interested because he's funny, or because he's bizarre, or because you can't take your eyes off it. I watched it too.
Les Moonves said it may not be good for America, but it's good for CBS.
We are in a world of entertainment. It is political entertainment.
The media during the campaign, everything they believed was wrong.
The 2016 election revealed so many flaws in how journalists had long been covering politics. The ground was shifting under their feet, and they just didn't know what to do.
We have to think really hard about how everybody behaved. And it needs to be a ruthless telling of a history if we're going to learn anything from it.
I remember it was the day after Jeb Bush's announcement, and it just didn't feel serious, because who in their right mind, in order to win over middle America, would announce a presidential campaign in a gold-plated building on Fifth Avenue in Manhattan?
It was May of 2015, and I got a call from Sam Nunberg, who had worked for Trump, and he said, Trump is going to announce on June 16th, and we want you to break it. And I said, no. I did this in 2011, and I'm not falling for this again. I'm not writing a word until he actually runs. Sam said, will you please just have lunch with him? And so I did, and Trump, he loves to show things off.
The White House is very special. So is Trump Tower. That's the view of New York City. That's the chair for The Apprentice.
Here's Shaquille O'Neal's signed shoe.
This is some serious foot.
Here's a plaque from Governor Scott Walker.
That's Tom Brady's Super Bowl helmet. This is Mike Tyson's belt. Vince McMahon from the World Wrestling Federation.
There were some rap videos that he asked his assistants to call up on the computers and show me. It was part of why he believed that he would do well with black voters. Trump was trying to sell me. I mean, because that's what he's always doing, is he's trying to sell you. And so he was trying to sell me on that he was serious, and he was getting frustrated that I wasn't taking it seriously. Nothing incensed him more than proving people wrong and what they think about him.
Wow. Whoa. That is some group of people, thousands. This is beyond anybody's expectation. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am officially running for President of the United States, and we are going to make our country great again.
Many people didn't take him seriously. I still remember Some newspapers cover stories saying that he was a clown. The Huffington Post saying that they were going to cover it as entertainment.
There is no question that there was a certain amount of smugness among the national media throughout the campaign, but especially at the beginning. I remember there was a clip that was played over and over and over again in which Keith Ellison is talking to George Stephanopoulos and Maggie Haberman. And Keith Ellison, who comes from Minnesota, clearly he was picking up something where he felt, oh, Donald Trump is really connecting with people.
You see these big crowds he is gathering. How do you explain his appeal? What is he tapping into? Congressman Keith Ellison over here just smiling silently through this whole time.
All I want to say is that this man has got some momentum, and we better be ready for the fact that he might be leading the Republican ticket.
I know you don't believe that, but I want to go on to write it down.
Sorry to laugh. The laughter from both George Stephanopoulos and Maggie Haberman that this was just a ludicrous idea, that sense of disconnect, and the fact that the national media's response to that was to laugh in this person's face was, I think, a really telling moment for me.
It was a spontaneous reaction, and I was not laughing at the idea that Trump could be the nominee. I was laughing at Keith Ellison, and that's not a great look either. It's really the moment that I will regret more than any during the campaign.
At the beginning, I was very frustrated with many journalists because they were not challenging Donald Trump enough. Donald Trump gave permission to people to say whatever was in their minds.
Our country is in serious trouble. The U.S. has become a dumping ground for everybody else's problems. When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists. And it's got to stop. And it's got to stop fast.
Mexican immigrants are criminals, drug traffickers, and rapists. I am a Mexican immigrant. He was talking about me. The vast majority of immigrants in this country are not criminals. And Donald Trump was giving a completely different idea simply because he knew that was the way to the White House.
I will build a great, great wall on our southern border, and I will have Mexico pay for that wall. Mark my words.
We challenged him immediately.
Trump, Donald Trump. Yo digo eso y ustedes qué piensan.
Yo pienso que es recriminable. Es la promoción del odio y resulta en una imagen muy negativa para todo el país.
But many other news organizations decided not to do that.
This guy's got absolutely no policy credentials whatsoever.
Donald Trump's a clown.
Come on, that was fantastic.
And as reporters, I think we didn't report correctly. We didn't see reality as it was, but as we wanted it to be.
We will make America great again. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I had no idea that Donald Trump announced he was running for president. At the time, I was not a political reporter.
To NBC's Katie Torres in Paris.
The L'Archevêque guy, I can't say the name. Take this down as well. I'm terrible at French, guys. Politics was not something that I had a deep interest in. It was not something that I had covered very much in the past. All I knew was that on June 23rd, I was coming back to New York, and I was in the newsroom, standing around, and that's how I got put on my very first Donald Trump story.
NBC and Univision both say they will not broadcast the Miss USA pageant.
Donald Trump is hot on the campaign trail amid swirling controversy over his derogatory remarks about Mexican immigrants.
Donald Trump was getting dropped by Macy's and Univision. Somebody said we should do this story, and my name came up.
Katie, this sounds like a real problem.
Yeah, it's definitely not a good one. And then I got a phone call from the president of NBC News saying, hey, we're going to put you on the Donald Trump campaign, full time.
I was covering Scott Walker, and as he was flaming out, our editors realized that we really needed someone on Donald Trump full-time, who's getting thousands and thousands of people at his events.
Apprentice!
Oh, good, good.
Yes.
When I started to realize that there was more to the Trump campaign, early on, I remember being at the Oklahoma State Fair, maybe a month or two into the campaign, and the place was packed.
There was a live bald eagle on stage, a guy from Duck Dynasty was there.
Here's the deal. We're both successful businessmen. We both had pretty big shows on television. We both have wives that are 1,000 times better looking than us.
I mean, it was this really entertaining, fun atmosphere.
People came, they wanted to see the spectacle, they wanted to see what this was all about, because he was and is a celebrity.
He's being greeted as if he's like a Beatle in the 1960s. There was a certain level of passion there that was not existent in any other candidate.
And if you weren't there in the rallies, you missed that.
Take the cameras off me and pan the crowd, okay? Go ahead, pan the crowd and be honest.
He's exceptionally good at marketing himself as full-blown news story.
I grew up on Donald Trump. He's just been in our consciousness for 35 years.
Trump found his way into the gossip pages. He found that he could pique interest from other publications that way.
The press never took him seriously, and he was able to take advantage of that.
Trump then and now has a belief that he can control the media, depending on how forcefully he behaves or how badly he behaves.
Miss America made the bathing suits one piece very large, and you weren't allowed to wear shoes. What I did is I made the heels higher and the bathing suits smaller, and it was amazing.
What do you think of Lindsay Lohan, Howard?
I think she's hot.
Probably deeply troubled and therefore great in bed.
Rosie is a loser. She's a slob. She's disgusting. I'd like to take some money out of her fat ass pockets.
And Trump thrived on this. How many times was Trump under investigation for his businesses? How many times did he escape accusations of housing discrimination, abuse of casino laws? How many bankruptcies? How many sleazy business partners did he have at home and abroad? And he thrived.
Things are working out very well for me. The press doesn't want to write that, but that's okay, because if you really read between the lines, you'll see that things are working out very well for Donald Trump.
His followers don't get how much of this is a game for him, and that's what I think the danger is.
I got my first sit down with Donald Trump on July 8th, and for me it was a chance to ask what I just felt like I wanted to know the answer to. Where do you get your money from? You're for the Second Amendment. Do you have a gun? How high would the wall be? How can anybody expect that you're going to be able to get into the White House and watch your mouth, hold your tongue, and not piss off other countries? And he tried to steamroll me.
You're not bringing up anything new. You know, you're acting like you're the great reporter, blah, blah, blah.
Let's talk immigration. The murder rate in El Paso, Texas, big cities in the country.
Don't try and convince me that there's no crime, that it's wonderful.
Why should people believe your numbers when you come out here and say that they're committing crimes? The Pew Research, which is independent, says...
Don't be naive. You're a very naive person.
The Pew Research says that there are, for immigrants on the whole,
Come on, try getting it out. Try getting it out.
I'll get it out.
I mean, I don't know if you're going to put this on television, but you don't even know what you're talking about. Try getting it out. Go ahead.
And it got very contentious. He was furious. He was furious. And that began a roller coaster of a relationship.
Trump going after the press has always been a dynamic. And early on, it was almost kind of a playful thing. A lot of people hate the media. It's an easy way to get people all riled up. But as time went on, the tone of it got darker and darker.
Part of what he does is he wants to make it personal, because everything for him is personal. He doesn't want to allow the substance to be debated.
Trump and I had always gotten along prior to that August debate, the very first presidential debate of the 2016 election season. You know, he certainly had a relationship with Fox News and with my then boss, Roger Ailes, that made him feel some sort of kinship, I gather, with my then place of employment.
Breaking tonight, new fallout from a controversial article about GOP frontrunner Donald Trump.
Prior to the debate, Trump became very focused on me, as a result of a segment we had done on the Kelly File involving his divorce from Ivana Trump, in which she accused Donald Trump of raping her.
The story broke at the Daily Beast website a little before 9 p.m. last night.
Needless to say, Trump did not appreciate the revival of that divorce allegation, which Ivana had since rejected as not the truth.
Tim, thank you for being here. Why did you think this was relevant?
Well, I think it's relevant because Donald Trump introduced his presidential campaign by making these accusations against Mexican immigrants, saying that many of the people who crossed the border were rapists.
It is a statement of fact that some of the people who cross the southern border are rapists and murderers. So why does that suddenly make relevant any allegation that's been made against a presidential candidate?
That story was everywhere. We were the only ones doing the story with some fair and balanced coverage, where the guy got challenged as to whether this was really appropriate or not.
Now, not taking a position on whether the report was fair or not, Tim, you spoke with a representative for the Trump Organization, a guy named Michael Cohen, an attorney for Mr. Trump, and he directly threatened you. He said, quote, "I will make sure that you and I meet one day, and I will come after your Daily Beast and everyone else that you possibly know. So I'm warning you, tread very effing lightly, because what I'm going to do to you is going to be effing disgusting. You understand me? I'm going to mess your life up for as long as you're on this effing planet." Your reaction to that kind of language and threat from a man directly representing a presidential contender?
Donald Trump was not happy with this segment and then demanded that I call him prior to that presidential debate. And he lost it. I mean, he told me I was a disgrace, that I ought to be ashamed of myself. He was screaming at me, and then he hung up on me. The next 4 days he spent calling my bosses, trying to figure out what I was going to do at the debate. His behavior escalated so much in those 4 days that I started to get slightly alarmed. Presidential debates are always the hardest things that we do. There's nothing like the preparation that goes into a presidential debate. There was so much anticipation behind that first debate. I mean, it was Trump's first debate. He was already the Republican frontrunner. The other Republicans wanted him gone. So I went to Cleveland excited.
In the center of the stage tonight, businessman Donald Trump.
This is it. It's game day.
We welcome you to the Republican primary debate night on Fox.
Trust me when I tell you, neither Brett Baer nor Chris Wallace wanted to read my debate question to Trump.
Our first round of questions is on the subject of electability. Mr. Trump, one of the things people love about you is you speak your mind and you don't use a politician's filter. However, that is not without its downsides, in particular when it comes to women. You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
No, it wasn't.
I think the big problem this country has is being politically correct. What I say is what I say. And honestly, Megyn, if you don't like it, I'm sorry.
Well, my first hint that something was wrong, that something really unusual was happening, was when I anchored my show right after the debate, live from the stadium.
This is the Kelly File, everyone, live from Cleveland on what has been truly an electric and historic night.
During the middle of the broadcast, Trump walked by with a huge entourage, and he pointed at me and said, "Megyn Kelly is not nice. She's no good." And then all the cameras turned to me, and it was click, 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 click. And I went home, and then, all hell broke loose.
Hello, Don.
Mr. Trump, how do you think it went?
So I actually saw Don Lemon live.
Well, I think it went very well from my standpoint.
Trump had offered to give a phoner to CNN, a half-an-hour phoner, commercial-free. They gave it to him. By the way, we killed them in the ratings that night. And I couldn't believe it. He was very angry.
Certainly, I don't have a lot of respect for Megyn Kelly. She's a lightweight. And, she came out there reading her little script. When you meet her, you realize she's not very tough and she's not very sharp. She's Zippo. There was blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her wherever. In my opinion, she was off base.
I mean, I will never forget seeing my phone just light up with the reaction to that comment, and honestly realizing that things had changed, that truly my own life would never be the same again.